Jason Kaufman, how are you? And I'm sorry that we took a little bit to catch up there, but good to hear from you. And
Thank you so much
yeah,
for
I'm doing
taking.
well. Hope you're doing well too.
Definitely, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what got you into the whole horror genre, if I might ask you?
My grandmother.
Perfect.
It was my grandmother. When I was a little kid, she loved horror movies, and I grew up watching, Doctor Shock and Uncle Ted and Creature Feature, all those things. So, it was a very pleasant distraction in my life, and by the time I was 8, 9 years old, I knew who Boris Karloff and Peter Lorre and Vincent Price and all those people were. So it was cool, and it's pretty well documented in my film The Fields with Tara Reid and Cloris Leachman, because that's a true story.
Oh, nice. I grew
Yeah.
I grew up with my mom also. I'm a son of a breast cancer survivor, and I grew up with all the classics also. So it's been a
Yeah,
major part of my life as well.
yeah, and it's a good distraction, and they were a lot of fun, and I still think that horror needs to be fun. You know, I think that's what's missing from a lot of horror these days, a sense of fun, and not satire or stupid fun, but that they should be fun. I mean, the original Alien, stuff like that. I mean, they were fun movies.
Exactly, and what caught me by surprise is we got stuck in a huge time leap here, where it's like, okay, everything for what we liked is starting to become PG-13, and it's just not fun anymore. And then your trailer hit
Right.
for Death House, and it's like, oh my god, this is bringing us back.
Yeah, and you just nailed it, Jason. And that would be what I really want you to get out in this interview. That's exactly what we were looking for.
I mean,
You know,
I've had your trailer on loop since it dropped.
well, the movie is just as fun as the trailer, and the best part is we haven't even shown you the best parts in the trailer yet.
Oh man, you have some guys in there that still scares the crap out of me to this day.
Well, good, good.
I remember watching Candyman as a child with Tony Todd, and man, still to this day, going into a bathroom freaks me the hell out sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This
And again, they were fun films.
definitely. What were some of your top films to make?
You mean like? What do you mean, like out of my 5 films that I've made?
Yeah, your personal films.
Um,
What do
well, I
you
mean,
hold dearest?
they've all been an experience. I mean, I started directing with Camp Dread, and then I directed Zombie Killers, Elephant's Graveyard, and then, of course, now Death House. So, I mean, every one of them has been an interesting experience. And I would have to say, the fun part for me was Camp Dread, because it was like really like being at summer camp. I mean, the crew all stayed in the camp, and it was just fun. Like, they got up every morning to a camp announcer calling to them, and that was fun. So I'd have to say that was just a real blast of an experience.
And that had Danielle Harrison in it, right?
Yep, Danielle Harris, she does a
Yeah,
great job in that with Eric Roberts. Yeah,
yeah. She's such an amazing actress,
she is. She's a good person.
definitely. And will she have any roles in any upcoming movies soon?
Well, I sure hope so. I'd love to work with her again. She was unavailable for Death House, but that doesn't mean she'd be unavailable for a sequel.
Oh,
So
definitely.
I'd love. I mean, we'd love to work with each other again. So yeah, absolutely. I sure as heck am hoping so.
And how were you approached to write for Death House?
What was that? You broke up?
How were you approached to continue writing for Death House? Like,
Sure.
I know Gunnar had his part in
Yeah,
it.
Gunnar had the script, the original script, and then the script was brought to me by Michael Eisenstadt, who was Gunnar's agent, and Michael brought to me then Rick Finkelstein and Stephen Chase of Entertainment Factory, and they approached me at a screening one night of Zombie Killers out in Los Angeles, and they said, "Oh, well, we have this project. It's kind of like the Expendables of horror." And when I heard that, I said right to Michael Eisenstein, I said, I'm not interested. So I have no interest in making the Expendables of horror. It's a gimmick movie. I don't want to make a gimmick movie.
Yeah.
So he said, well, no. He said Gunnar has ideas. He wants to make a serious horror film here, and he wants to put in so many members of the horror community. So I said, okay, well, I mean, I'll entertain that, but I don't. And also, I want no, which I knew it wouldn't be, but I want no mashup of horror characters. I don't want it to be Michael Myers versus Pinhead, or to me that's stupid.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in making a movie like that. But I knew it wouldn't be the case because just the rights to that alone, those characters together. I mean, hell, it's come how many scripts and how many millions just to put Freddy and Jason together to get what we got. There was just no way they were going to have a budget to approach me with to put all these characters in. So, I didn't worry about that part too much, but I was worried that that's what fans would think it is, and I was correct. I mean, even to this day, no matter how many times I say it in an interview, you get these people that are going, oh, I don't know why they're not playing their characters. And it's like, well, I mean, if you saw the Expendables, number one, I mean, Stallone did not play Rambo. Bruce Willis did not play John McClane. So, I don't know why people were expecting, even if it was the Expendables of horror, why were they expecting these people to be, their characters from the respective movies?
Exactly.
It's silly, It doesn't work. So, and most of all, the worlds that these horror icons, these characters live in, they don't mesh. I still don't think the world of Freddy Krueger and the world of Jason Voorhees meshed. They don't work.
No, it seemed odd to me also.
Yeah, it was very forced, and look, let's face it, it was just a cash grab.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's not like anybody took this as serious horror, serious art.
Right.
It was a money-making cash grab, and it worked. But there's a reason why there wasn't another one. So that tells you something too.
I mean, I think they could have profited more off of it if they had like Freddy versus Pinhead or something, because at least that kind of makes sense.
Well, right. I mean, Freddy Krueger is the world of nightmares, and Jason Voorhees is in the real world. He lives in the physical daytime world. So, I didn't understand, like, when they had their whole plot device of how Freddy finally gets Jason to kill people. I'm like, really? This is what you came up with? We waited all these years, and this is what we got, huh? Oh, okay. So, I mean, the movie has its fans. That's fine. I mean, it's junk food entertainment. But, to call it serious horror, no, I wouldn't call it that.
No. Almost a comedy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, it's just a bloody R-rated version of Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
Exactly.
That's really all it is.
And I mean, with DeathHouse, was you going in there for the first time, seeing all these people assembled? What was your reaction to it?
Well, it was very easy to work with all of them because the number one thing, like as a director, you don't really think, oh, I'm intimidated by all these names. It's more like, how are they all going to behave together? Like when you're dealing with an ensemble type of movie, there's always the possibility of egos,
Mm-hmm.
And they were just the nicest damn people to work with. I mean, they were all friendly and supportive, and they joked with each other. And quite frankly, the horror genre is very different than other genres because, aside maybe from Star Trek, these actors, they all see each other on the convention circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Either rooming with each other, or they're in the same hotels with each other. They travel with each other, so there's more of a camaraderie, I think, among them than you would find on other movies. So you had that where they were very laid back people, very friendly, very sweet people, and I'm not just saying that. Like, there was never a moment of walking on the set thinking I was going to be intimidated or, oh, how do I handle these people? They were just nice, very generous people. So, to answer your question, it was just simply was very easy. You know, I would say that's the best answer. It was very easy working with them. I'd work with every single one of them again, and it was a pleasure.
Definitely. And I'm a huge fan of Kane Hodder. I mean, like, everybody's intimidated by him, and I'm like, I bet he's the nicest guy ever.
He is, and most of all, he's funny.
Yeah.
Kane has got one hell of a sense of humor, and man, I loved working with him. And this is Kane's movie, Jason. I mean, Bill Moseley said that. Bill Moseley said, well, this is certainly Kane's movie. I mean, Kane shines in this. He has such a great role, and he actually gets to act, you know? Like, it's more than just, you know, startling people or whatever. And I mean, I know he's done other films where he has acted. That's the issue. Mm-hmm. But in this one, he really gets to act, and he shines. He's terrific as Sieg, the main villain, the main antagonist.
Oh, man, I'm excited.
I think you can see that from the preview.
Yeah.
You know, from the trailer, you can see that you know, he really gets to act, you know?
When they just bring him in, I mean, oh my god. That was perfect.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
And that's one of my, like, bucket list goals, is to actually try to be in a movie with Kane Hodder. I would like to be killed by him.
Well, I'm sure, you know, maybe one day you'll get your chance. If not, you can always go to the convention and he'll choke you.
Please
you know?
choke me. And I mean, your special effects team too. I mean, you guys went classic with it, with not doing all the CGI crap also, which I really love. I mean, you have a really great team with that.
Oh, yeah, Soda Effects under Roy Knierim were the head of our practical effects. And I've been saying this in a couple interviews, and I'll say it on yours, and that is, we have a practical effect that I am telling you right now, it rivals the chestbuster scene in Alien.
That's
you know,
awesome.
The first time when John Hurt's chest explodes and that alien pops out,
mm-hmm.
we one-upped it. That I am confident of. And you'll know the scene when you see it. In addition, we do have some CGI, but it's either to clean up the picture or the prison cells in the movie are virtual reality like holodecks.
Mm-hmm. So
every once in a while you'll see a glitch in the video. Now it's funny, some people who watch the trailer are like, oh, those backgrounds look projected. Well, you see, that's because they are. You know, it's like, again, if you just wait for the damn movie to come out instead of having it all force-fed and spoon-fed to you, you'd understand that. Yes, that is intentional. We want the background to look, you know, glitchy and all of that stuff. Like in the scene with Sid Haig, when he says they got some surprises here for you and your girl. Well, he's sitting in his prison cell, and it's all projected, and there's a reason why this all is. So that's really the only time you see CGI. Otherwise, all the violent effects, the gunshots, you know, the physical trauma, that's all practical.
Love it. That's exactly what's been missing, is just that. And I heard something like you guys got the ingredient for the ooze, what they used in Ghostbusters?
Yes, yeah, that's from Roy. Yep, they brought in they got the ingredient from Ghostbusters. You know, all these effects guys all know each other. So, you know, somebody shared something, and yeah, so we're in one way connected to Ghostbusters, I guess you could say.
That's awesome. So besides DeathHouse, do you have any other projects you're working on also?
Yes, I'm getting ready to direct a film that I wrote called Garlic and Gunpowder, which is a mafia action comedy film, and I'm pretty excited about that, to do some comedy for a little bit of a change. We're shooting in January out in the West Coast, and we're really excited about that. So I'm really, they're starting to do the casting process and everything right now, and I'm pretty excited about it. So that's going to be fun. I have a number of projects coming up, but I don't usually talk about them until certain things have locked into place. That way I don't sound like a bullshitter on the interview, because you always hear these people that talk about, oh, I've got this, and then I've got that, and then like 2-3 years later, that project never comes out, and I don't really operate that way. Garlic and Gunpowder is ready to go. It's in the casting process now, and it will be shot in January. So I'll definitely talk about that one. I have about 4 other projects right now actively in development, different phases of securing financing. And once they lock, then I'll talk about them. Otherwise, anybody who's in the industry knows it's just nothing. You can talk about projects till you're blue in the face. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And you guys are heading out to HorrorCon this weekend, correct?
Monsterpalooza.
Monsterpalooza.
Yeah, Monsterpalooza. I'm heading out Thursday. I'm flying to Los Angeles for that. Then we have a Shock Stock in Ontario that I believe Felissa Rose and them will be at, and then I'll be at Scaricon in New York, and I'm also going to be, I think, the one you're talking about. Is that the one in Massachusetts?
I think so. I keep seeing advertisements.
I'll be at that one too.
Nice. Yep. I'm up in Portland, Oregon, and we kind of get shafted with the horror movie cons.
Yeah, you probably don't get a lot coming your way up there.
No, we get your typical like Wizard World or Rose City Comic Con. We don't really get much.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, you're kind of sequestered out there on the upper corner. So,
which is kind of awesome. I have a younger cousin also, which she's also huge into horror, and she's actually created some of her own projects, and she makes different like phone cases and all sorts of arts and crafts with all sorts of characters. I mean, she does an amazing job. I need to tag her on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I'm looking for somebody on Twitter went to a convention, and they came away with a really cool Fright Night phone case for like the iPhone 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, and I was like, "Oh, where did you get that?" And they said, "Oh, I got it at a horror convention." So, if she does phone cases for. I have the big iPhone one, the 6 Plus, I guess, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if she makes like a Fright Night one, let me know.
Definitely. I'll get her on. If she's not on Twitter, I'll get her on it.
Yeah, get her on it.
Is that your only platform right now? Is Twitter?
Well, yeah. I mean, the movie has a Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't use Facebook only because I stay in touch with the people I want to stay in touch with, and it's just one more thing to freaking update. That's how I feel. And what am I going to post every day? Oh, we're working on DeathHouse. I mean, big deal. And you get all right, 5 likes. Like who cares? It's, when the movie's done, everybody will know.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's just one more thing I have to update, and I don't want to bother with that. So, I'm found primarily on Twitter. I don't do Instagram. I'm not an actor. I don't need to be on Instagram. I mean, what am I going to post every day? So.
Definitely. Let's see. Also, I wanted your opinion on another movie series that came out early 2000s, and I actually worked at a Regal Theater when it came out, and I found out all about it, and they really disappointed me, and that was the Paranormal Activity series. How do you feel about that movie?
What did you want to know about it from me?
I wanted to know what was your reaction to that series.
I mean, look, I'm not going to commit myself in public to what I know about the making of the film or its distribution.
Yeah.
What I do know is, hey, good for them. They made a lot of freaking money off of it, and that's great. I mean, is it the scariest? I mean, the first one especially is that the scariest movie I've ever seen? Hardly. It works for its found footage or first person narrative type of thing. I mean, it all works. They put some money into it. They cleaned it up. They did what they had to do, and the Paramount took a smart gamble, rolled the dice, and hey, it came up great. They ended up making like 400 and some million off the first one. So
yeah.
I'd say their investment worked. So I mean, I'm really not a fan. It's funny. I just saw this last weekend. I saw the movie Creep,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a found footage kind of film, and it wasn't bad. But I'm just not really a fan of that narrative. And I think the reason why I'm not is because somewhere in us as human beings, the movies are made this way to try to make you think they really happened, that they're real.
Yeah.
That somebody found a video camera or film camera and, they did all this. And to me, in some ways, those kind of films really aren't much different than a snuff movie, where we're watching unfortunate things happen to human beings, whether they die or they don't, but we're watching it because we think it's real, and it's, I don't know, there's something that conflicts with my brain on it. I can't explain it. And I'm able to suspend my disbelief. Like, for example, I don't think the first-person narrative or found-footage narrative worked for Frankenstein's Army. I don't know if you've seen the film. I liked the movie very much, and I thought the practical effects were just freaking genius. And I thought the story was cool. But I don't think that it should have been told through the narrative that they chose. I think it would have been better if they would have shot it as just a normal narrative. So I think it's overused. I see the value in it. I still say the best found footage film of all time to this day is still Blair Witch, the original Blair Witch Project. I think it worked, even though you have to suspend your disbelief quite a bit for that, to listen to a bunch of people arguing, walking around the woods when all they had to do was just follow the stream and they would have been okay.
Yeah.
So, but I get it, and it worked, and they did a good job with it. So I'm not dismissing the narrative. I'm just saying, as a viewer, it's something that I like watching Creep. I think, for example, look, we know that probably the protagonist is going to die, and we're just watching this till the end, and we're almost like, we're enjoying the entertainment of watching someone suffer and die. So for me, I just think there's something like even subconscious with me that conflicts with watching the movie, that those kind of movies put me off.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I'm sure, like I said, I've seen many fine ones. It has nothing to do with that. It's just for me as a viewer, I'd rather watch a normal narrative film.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that they were doing another, I don't know if I should call it a spin-off or a sequel or a prequel, but they're doing another Blair Witch movie.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's a sequel. It's taking place after the events of the first film, because as we know, the second film was really more of a meta movie. It was about the making of that movie kind of thing. So with this one, I believe one of the people in it is a relative of one of the campers. I don't know whether it's Heather Donahue's character or whatever, but that's what I've read. I may be wrong, totally wrong on that, but that's what I've come to understand.
Huh. It doesn't look horrible. I mean, might go see that, but
I don't think it'll be horrible. I mean, look, Ed Sanchez is with it, and he knocked it out of the park with the first film, and I think Ed is an absolutely gifted director and producer. I liked, a lot of his stuff afterwards,
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think it'll be terrible. Again, is it the kind of movie you want to see? That's what it'll really come down to. If you're into first-person narrative or found footage, whatever you want to call it, yeah, then you'll probably like it. For me, I'll probably catch it on video.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be...
And that's how I've been lately, too.
Sit and watch that, but...
That's how I've been.
I'll catch it later,
It goes to Redbox, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Also, I understand you have mentioned there's a lot of... Bouncing back, there's a lot of Easter eggs in DeathHouse also.
Yes, there are. There are a lot of them in there, and we're very, very pleased with the post-title sequence. We have one in there that came as a real bonus even to me as a filmmaker, and when it was made available to me and the guy said, "Do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's put it in." So we did a little impromptu shoot on set just to get that done.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you have a count of how many Easter eggs are in the movie, or is it just...
No, you know what? Even from writing it and directing it, I've lost count. But there are also audio Easter eggs. Like, you gotta listen. You'll hear dialogue that will reference another previous horror film. There's a lot there. And I mean, for example, one of the Easter eggs is Adrienne Barbeau. She's the voice of the DeathHouse computer. And, she does a direct reference to Escape from New York when Kane is being brought into intake inside the prison, and you just hear, "Follow the yellow line." Should you wish to be terminated?
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of thing. That's right from Escape from New York. So we have a lot of things in there, and That's what it was meant for. I mean, you're gathering all these people together for a reason. It's for nostalgia. And I mean, Stranger Things just took off and blew the barn doors off. And all that was, and everybody says it's a nostalgia trip, but to me, I thought it was a little heavy on the nostalgia. I mean, it was basically lifting the plots of a number of, 80s tropes and storylines and just stitching them all together into a series. And that's fine. I mean, it provided a good time for a lot of people who watched it. But, we did the same thing, basically, but we just did it a little bit more subtle.
Yeah. And, I mean, is there going to be, also a hint of comedy in it also?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have definitely some fun lines. There's, look, a good horror movie should have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Even The Exorcist has a sense of humor. So, yeah, the answer is yeah. But we're not going over the top and making it stupid.
Exactly.
Like everybody saw Lloyd Kaufman's going to be in there, like, oh my God, I'll bet you he's a riot. Well, actually, no, he plays it straight. He has,
oh, that's amazing.
But he does have a line in the film where it is pretty funny when he asks out loud, what happened to this soldier, and it's a funny line. But that's it. I mean, he's not playing the scene for gags,
Mm-hmm.
But he plays, which is really cool, he plays Dr. Chalice. And any Halloween 3 fan is going to be thrilled because, that was the name of, Tom Atkins' character in Halloween 3.
Yeah, I remember that. Oops. Are you able to say how long the movie's going to be?
Oh, yeah, it runs 1 hour and 28 minutes.
1 hour, 28 minutes. Awesome.
Yep. And then with credits, it'll be 90 minutes. Yeah. I mean, horror should know when to leave the stage, like good comedy.
Yeah.
Unless you're James Cameron and you're directing Aliens and it needs to be 2 hours long, rarely is a horror film needed to be over 90 minutes. That's my opinion.
Nice. And let's see. Do you have a favorite, other than your own work, do you have, a favorite horror series?
Not really a series, no. I mean, my favorite movie of all time is the original, and that's the movie you want to make movies. But a horror series, I would have to say I really did enjoy but the Psycho series, Psycho 1, 2, and 3. I really, really enjoyed them, and I think, Psycho 2, I would consider, it's Tom Holland's script, but I would consider Psycho 2 to be one of the best damn sequels ever made, up there in the top 5 best sequels to any type of movie ever made. And then in addition, I think Anthony Perkins, who directed Psycho 3, did a really good job with Psycho 3, and I think Psycho 3 is highly underrated. It got a bit of a raw deal at the box office back in 1986, and I know that Perkins himself was personally crushed by the failure of the film, and it's kind of rehabilitated itself since then. But I really think Psycho 3 deserves a second look, and it was well made, it was well crafted. It could have been a lousy movie, and it wasn't. And you have Jeff Fahey giving a fantastic performance, and Perkins did a terrific job directing it, I thought. So, I mean, it didn't really break any new ground like Psycho 2 did, because Psycho 2's script was just so clever, and it was so much fun because you walked in I was in 10th grade when that came out, and I walked into that theater absolutely expecting to hate that movie, and I walked out loving it so much I went up to the box office and I bought another ticket and went right into the next show. So, that I would say, I enjoyed that series. I do like Fright Night, 1985. I think Tom Holland's Fright Night it's one of my top 5 favorite films. And I think the sequel with Julie Carmen was highly, highly underrated, and it got a raw deal in distribution. They had some internal strife behind the scenes with the producers, and one of them died, and it just kind of threw everything into chaos, and the movie got shelved. And it got a very limited theatrical release, but I thought Tommy Lee Wallace did a really nice stylistic job. That is a good bookend to Fright Night. I really do, and I wish more people had seen it, and I still hope for a Blu-ray release one day.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It deserves it. And I don't know if she listens, and I hope you get it out there, but Tracy Lind, who was in that film, who played William Ragsdale's love interest,
Oh yeah.
was fantastic in that movie. And she just kind of vanished after the 80s. I think she stuck around for like a couple films in the early 90s, and then she just kind of went off the radar. But my God, was she so good in that. And it was like, wow, I'd love to work with her. So I don't know if she ever listens, but fantastic job, and I wish she'd go back into acting again.
I agree. That movie really is underrated and needs to be more appreciated.
It is. And Julie Carmen was just, holy cow, was she a great vampire.
Yeah.
I mean, she was really, really good. I loved her. So, yeah, just one of those things that just happened. I mean, there was a sequel to an incredibly high-grossing motion picture and successful motion picture that, in my opinion, and I think a lot of critics have agreed, revived the vampire movie in Hollywood. Without Fright Night, you wouldn't have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and unfortunately for us, we also probably got Twilight out of the deal because of Fright Night, but that's a shame. But otherwise, the movie, like I said, it really should have been handled better, because it's not because of the quality of the film. It had some excellent practical effects, and just didn't, because of the problems behind the scenes with, I think, the distribution and producer situation, the movie just didn't get seen.
Yeah. And I know they did I think it was a 2012 or 13, something like that. I know they did a reboot of Fright Night.
Yeah, they did, and it wasn't a bad movie.
No.
But it's not Fright Night.
No.
That's the problem.
It lost its fill.
Tom Holland made a movie that was like a Valentine to an era that was fading. I mean, even at that time in 1985, I knew that things were changing. The VCR had changed everything. Cable TV had changed everything. So those old-time horror hosts that had we had like 3 channels back in the day, and they used to host these old, local broadcast, horror things, and they were going off the air. They were being squeezed out.
Mm-hmm.
The VCR was squeezing them all out of a job, and the old school way of making movies was over. Nobody, like Peter Vincent says it best in that movie, your generation is interested in seeing, vampires are vampire hunters. All they want are demented madmen and ski masks hacking up young virgins. Well, how really prescient he was in saying that for even today. Because, our generations now that are here, they have no idea about anything before. So it's even further down the line. But then in the remake, what did it have to say? I mean, the remake was fine. It was well made. There were no issues there, but we didn't need it.
No.
Even Peter Vincent in that movie, what was he like? He was like a Siegfried and Roy or a David Blaine kind of guy.
Yeah.
What did that have to do with Fright Night? Fright Night was an old horror show, that Peter Vincent used to host, and that was the whole point of it all. With this, Fright Night itself was just useless. It didn't need to be called Fright Night, and that's how I felt. It just didn't work. And they made a sequel that I think went, right to video or something like that. So, and they tried to copying the sequel. They had a female vampire in that, and, no one really cared. That's really what it came down to. No one cared. There's a reason why not everybody, but so many horror fans remember Tom Holland's movie, and everybody just, they say about the remake, okay, but who's going to remember the remake 20 years from now?
Right.
So.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing we're stuck with nowadays is a bunch of reboots. Like I'm also a huge fan of the movie The Crow. I thought it was perfect in every way, and now we're getting a remake of that.
Yeah, and nobody really asked for it.
No.
That's the best part. We're getting these remakes, and no one's really asking for them. That's the real issue. So, we talk about that all the time.
I grew up around like shows like Tales from the Crypt and all those, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark for Nickelodeon, because that was a pretty decent show growing up. What else? Tales from the Dark Side. Just a bunch of good classic shows, and now it's like there's nothing.
Well, and that's it. I mean, that's why I said at Days of the Dead that I feel, overall the whole thing is the genre's in trouble. I mean, it doesn't know what it wants to be, and now you have this whole issue of PG-13 horror because we can't have horror be offensive or too scary, and it's like, who's coming up with this garbage?
Yeah.
And Bill Moseley backed me up on that at the panel I was at when he said that when they made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, they wanted the word massacre taken out of the title because it was too scary. And I'm like, isn't this a goddamn horror movie? Like, what do you mean it's too scary? This is ridiculous. And this whole PC, everybody's oversensitive and everybody has the right to be offended crap. This is killing us. It's killing us as a society. It's killing art.
It really is.
And really, in my opinion, it's just, all of this PC garbage is just nothing but another form of censorship. It's by somebody with an agenda who wants what they don't like taken out of the system and expunged. And it really is. It's just a more subtle form of censorship, telling people how they should talk. Look, we all know you just can't say what you want. It's like the old thing. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater.
Yeah.
However, this has gone too far. And this doesn't have to do with race or anything like that. Everybody's offended by something nowadays. Like, for example, I just saw a news thing that the town that was just hit by the earthquake in Italy.
Oh, yeah.
The villagers are thinking of suing. Was it Charlie Hebdo, the satirical magazine in France, because they published a cartoon that they were offended by. Okay, because it made fun of the earthquake. I didn't see the cartoon, but I was starting to read the article just when we got on this interview.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they have any right to sue. You don't. It's a comic thing. You don't like it, don't purchase the magazine.
Right.
Don't, you know what I mean? Like, if they sue and they actually win, that's a vote for censorship.
Yep.
That's how I feel.
I totally agree with that.
And, I'm sorry people died. It's terrible, but, I'm sure that people publish satirical comics. I mean, look, Family Guy has made fun of the World Trade Center collapse. Here we are on September 12th, the day after, on the 15th anniversary. Should we shut down Family Guy? Should we censor that? Should we haul Seth, MacFarlane into court and sue him for, offending people? Like, that's a very deadly door to open.
It really is. I mean, he's pushed a lot of limits, and I mean, I think he does that for the point of, hey, it's art. It's what I do.
Yeah. I just think we're down a deadly road, and when we start seeing that stuff and people think that, horror should be PG-13, and again, there's nothing wrong with PG-13 horror, but when it's being made because we're afraid of offending somebody, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. You don't need blood and gore to scare people all the time.
No.
Sometimes less is more, and that's fine. But, I mean, let's face it, some of the films that all these people love, I mean, Frankenstein, it has no blood in it. And it's still a fantastic film. Bride of Frankenstein, I think today is better than when it was made.
Oh, yeah.
So, and there's no blood, there's no sex, there's no F-bombs. It's not saying that you need that. Psycho, I mean, what do we have? Like, I think, 2 scenes with some blood in it, and it's chocolate and syrup, and very tame by it. I mean, if Psycho were released today, it would be a PG movie.
Oh, jeez, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we've been missing good stuff for a very long time. It's time for a change.
Well, that's why we made DeathHouse. We made DeathHouse to have fun with it, to bring fun back without it being overhanded, without it being like, characters named Freddy or characters named Jason. We didn't do that, like we made a fresh story. It has a very fresh and original plot. And, I mean, we could have just we could have clocked this in. We could have just made it where, oh, look, there's Sid Haig, and oh, he kills somebody. Oh, look, there's Tony Todd, and he kills somebody. That's what I didn't want to do. And if anybody out there is expecting that kind of a movie, you need to step up your game and expect better. That's how I feel. I feel that too many people in the horror audience have been dumbed down, and they expect stupid stuff. When somebody says, well, I expected this to be like a Freddy versus Jason movie, my answer is, you should expect better. That's what you should expect.
Because there's definitely more character out of these actors than just those roles.
Absolutely. And look, let's face it. I mean, when Friday the 13th came out, freaking people hated it.
Yeah.
You know, Felissa Rose told me that when Sleepaway Camp came out, the critics ripped it apart. You know, people, they complained about it. She heard people talking about it, like even at her school, and, oh, the movie sucks, and it's cheap, and all that. And, you know, Sleepaway Camp is now considered like a small, cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th, if it were released today, people would rip it apart. The same with Halloween. Oh, it's boring. Oh, there's no blood in it. You know, nothing happens. That's what they would do.
Yep, that's true.
You know, so you got to give new horror a chance. You got to open your mind and let some new things come in. Why do you keep accepting the same remakes and reboots? They're going to reboot Nightmare on Elm Street again.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Nobody wanted the other one.
No, that was a nightmare.
Right. Nobody wanted it. Nobody asked for it. You know? But they did it because there's a cash grab there. There's a chance to make money, and it's easy. You have a built-in audience.
And now I think I saw something a while back. I guess there's a lawsuit or something going on for the rights to Jason now.
Dude, the rights, I don't even know about all of that, other than the rights to that Friday the 13th franchise are so...
Oh,
I don't even know how anybody could figure it out. I don't even know how they do it.
It's insane.
You want to screw something up, get lawyers involved.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, holy crap, man. When I heard about all of that, I was just like, where do you even begin? It would take you a year just to start, untangling things, and then another couple years just to put things, in order to start getting something made.
Right.
So, I mean, they've got TV rights, and they've got film rights, and you've got, printed rights, and I don't even know. Who figures all this out, except I'm sure there are a lot of lawyers that made a lot of money off that.
Oh, yeah.
People
are eating good off that. Huh. And, were you, planning on doing, like, kind of a trilogy with DeathHouse?
Well, we're planning on 5 other sequels.
5 other sequels. Sweet.
So that is the plan, and the second one is just about written. It's pretty much done.
I love it.
Yep.
And, are you planning on maybe doing an Origins movie to it?
They're talking about that, but, again, let's get through the sequels. Let's get this one out.
Yeah. I hear you.
Let them talk all they want. I have nothing really to do with that as of yet. I know that my name's been linked, and that's fine. I'm willing to do something like that. But my opinion is right now, let's get the first one out there and successful, and let's get the sequels made. Then we can worry about Origins.
Definitely.
I'm not worried about all of that at this point.
And I think you guys are going to be really successful with this.
I hope so. I hope you're right, Jason. I really do.
I mean, we've been starved of true horror for a long time, and it's time.
Well, look, we're not going out there. We're not billing this as the scariest movie of the year. We're not doing that garbage.
Yeah.
Like that. Everybody talks about hype. All we've done is hype that we have a lot of great names in this, which we do.
Yeah.
And that's really all we've hyped up. We have a fresh story. It's a lot of fun, and I describe this as basically a roller coaster ride through the funhouse. That's how I describe it. It is definitely not the scariest movie of the year, but we have some stuff that'll make some people jump for sure, and we have some practical effects. People are going to go, "Oh, you've got to be effing kidding me," And that's what a good horror movie should do. It's a good time. It tells its story very efficiently. We're in and out in 90 minutes, and we give you something to look at, and most of all, ask questions about and discuss and think about after you leave the theater.
For sure. And I don't want to take up too much of your time. I mean, you got things going on, so.
Yeah, I do have to go in about probably about 5 minutes here.
All right, I'll just wrap this up right now then. So, thank you for coming out here with us and chatting horror, DeathHouse.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
And would you have any advice for people coming to see your movie?
Yeah, know your horror.
You heard it from the man himself. Thank you so much, Harrison.
Jason, thank you, and I look forward to it. And most of all, I'll look forward to your opinion of the movie when it comes out. We'll let the movie speak for itself.
Definitely.
All right?
Alrighty. Have a good one, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.